Hello and welcome. Well, are you ready for a project that you can work through for a few weeks or months? I'm going to be starting a scrappy strip slow stitch quilt, probably about a lap size quilt. But I'm going to be using these scrappy strips that I've got, and I'll be creating some along as I go. For instance, like this, it needs to be stripped or, torn or cut, whatever the fabric allows. But it's going to be totally raw edge. It's going to be all hand sewn. It's going to be not exact on anything except, for instance, these strips of batting. I'm going to be using that as my foundation to sew on. When everything is completed, then I can put a fabric backing on the whole thing. My strips are approximately 3 inches, 3.5 inches. Now they change a little bit, but I can adjust that as long as they're within like 3.25 to 3.75. I can do some adjusting when I connect the strips, and I can show you that as we go along. But and it can be as long as they're the same width, they can be any length, whatever scraps that you may have on hand. Okay, so this is what I have right now to start with. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And when I get through, of course, they can be connected, okay, with just a little trimming. They can be connected, and then the next piece can be pieced, and it can be connected, and so forth and so on. It'll be done in a patchy way, and it'll be a lot of fun, and it'll be something that you can use your scraps for. And if you don't have strips, we'll pull out your scraps and start stripping and get plenty of them on hand. And you want all different widths. Let's see if this one is going to tear. Yes, it does. And that's a wider strip. So what I normally do is I'll come down and I'll snip different widths along that, and then just rip them up, okay? Like that. All right. These little odd pieces, just put them in your scrap bucket and keep going. All right, let's see what this one will do. Let's put him in some, it doesn't like tearing very well. And also, if you cut the direction that you strip in, makes a lot of difference too. Let's see if that's going to even up for me. Okay, that's a better strip. That's a little tiny strip. That's a pretty wide one. Since my width is only 3.5 inches, you don't want super wide ones, like you don't want 2-inch strips, things like that. And if you have certain color that you want to use, well then, you'll have to strip those fabrics to get the color scheme that you want. Me, I'm going to just do this very scrappy and whatever I've got here. And it doesn't hurt to use some whites and creams, whatever you have in there. Let's see, do I have any more bigger ones? Yeah. That one's kind of big. Okay, I might find some more along the way that I need to strip, but we'll say that that pile's pretty well done. So while you're watching TV or something, just start stripping your fabric and then you'll have a pile to use, okay? Now, let me thread up a needle. And what I'm going to do this with is just my embroidery thread. I'm going to do it in a 2-ply or take 2 threads out of that strand. And that's what I'm going to be doing this with. And any color, I'm going to be using any color. So it's a good time to use up your bits and pieces of threads, embroidery floss, whatever you're going to use. And get that in there. Tie a knot on the end. Okay, so let's look at how we're going to do this first one. Let's just start with the short one, okay? So let's audition a couple of pieces here and see what we want to do. Oh, that one fits all the way across. That's nice. And no, I'm not gonna iron these unless they're just really, really terrible. But and I can pin. There's no law that says I can't pin as I go, so I can do that. But let's try that one. And then this is a pretty wide one here. Well, he's all actually. He's all sizes. Let's see. I think it wanted to. Okay. Let's see what we got here. We might save him for more of a. Well, let's go to just do it this way. This is a nice little strip here. We're just going to overlap. Okay. Just make sure you've overlapped. We'll clean up our edges after we sew everything on. All right, get an overlap here going. You want enough overlap to make sure that you catch everything underneath. Okay. Well, you know what? I'm going to do that differently. I'm not going to worry so much about the overlap because what I can do is I can come in here and I can put a strip right over that seam if it's not looking good to me. Okay, so let's not sweat the overlap. Let's just let's get one more piece on here. Let's see. Let's try this purple one. Okay, let's get some of the extra strings off. Okay, this one's not going to be quite as long, but that's okay because we can piece it. Well, it's almost. If I stretch it just a little bit, there you go. It'll be all right. Because remember, we have to sew these together, so as long as we can get within a 1/4 inch down there, we'll be all right. Okay, let's just go ahead and sew these down. All right, we're going to start right about the center of this one, because that's about a 1/4 inch up from a 1/4 inch and a 1/4 inch. And a good way to do that is from the back. And that would be about right on that square, okay? I'll go back down in the same place and come back up. Okay, liking that well enough. Okay, then I'm just going to do a running stitch, and this stitch does not have to be perfect. But close enough. You want that you've got a good bind on your fabric, but it doesn't, you know, all the stitches don't have to be perfect or anything like that. Just get that stitched on there. Okay. Let's just keep going. Oops. Also, your lines don't need to be straight. Think scrappy, primitive, rustic, perfectly imperfect, however you want to phrase it, so that you take the pressure off yourself and you just sew for fun. Okay, let's take that pin out. Remember that when we get these basic scrappy strips done, we can always come back and do more stitching. We can do embroidery stitching, fancy stitching. We can add trim. We can do whatever we want at that point. Right now, we're trying to get a utility stitching down that gets this on the background fabric where we want it. Okay. Well, boy, I hung it on 2 different. There you go. All right. Okay. There's that one. So now let's go, and we're going to come over and catch the top of this one. I'm going to turn it around, and I'm just going to do the same thing. Go down with my stitches. Okay. Keep going. I think what I will do, as you can tell, I'm sewing intuitively, because I'm changing my mind, and I'm switching direction, and I'm doing everything as I go. So that's how I sew. Some you may want to overlap, so you get a totally overlap. Some you may just butt up to the edge, which like this one is, because you can see the batting a little bit in there. Okay, and so I'll show you in a minute what that allows me to do, which I will like the look of it when I'm completed. It allows me to keep it very scrappy. Okay. All right. We got 2 done here. We can take that one off. And, you know, sew to about the 1/4 inch on each end. All right. Now, because these 2 just butt up and there's not an overlap, what I'm going to do is take the opportunity to lay a 3rd piece across that seam. Okay. So I will cover that seam with a little bitty one here, really thin one. Let me get that. I'll go down and come up right in the center of that, leaving very raw edges. I'll do a little back tack there and then come up, and this will cover that seam, but it leaves a little different color and a little more texture and raw edges. And if you're going to do this, you do want to use a narrow strip, because these aren't very wide and you want to be able to see it. If you really want to play with it, scrappy, make your stitches different lengths and kind of wonky and crooked at times, and purposely do those things. And just, to me, it just adds character to it. But usually, if you're not paying real attention, you're going to get variations in your stitching anyway. So at least I do. If I really want good straight stitches and, you know, perfectly aligned, I have to pay attention to what I'm doing. And so if that's not real important, then I can just stitch. And whatever I come out with is what I come out with. Isn't this fun already? I love it. This is a great way to teach a young one how to sew and also make a little quilt at the same time. Okay. All right. How about that? We got that one. Now, I believe this one we've got overlapped enough that I can come back through here. Okay, I'm going to go down here about the quarter, and then I'm coming back up through here. Hope I got enough thread to get to the end. Do me a little back stitch and start my running stitch. Okay, I'm going to have to stay close to the edge because, remember, this one I'm trying to overlap. So stay close to your edge when you're overlapping. This I don't need anymore. All right. It's coming on along. I think I'm probably going to run out of thread here before I run out of strip, but we'll see. And don't you just love working with a small piece that you can actually hold and maneuver well? Let's get all that under there. There we go. Get it straight. Tuck it back again. Here we go. I believe that thread's gonna hold out for me. Okay, am I tucked under good? Yeah. Let's take it all the way about to the 1/4 inch. Just gonna be about there. Oops, I got a little too far away. That's okay. Okay, then you wanna make a little knot in the back here. and cut that. All right. Let's just clean up our edge. And if you need some confetti pieces, it's a good way to get confetti, okay? Let's just kind of trim it up, keep it on the neat side so we can see where our edges are. All right. Isn't that looking good? Isn't that looking good? How about a piece of purple across there? I think that's a good thing. We've got a straight edge pretty much, and we got a wide piece, so we can overlap that one pretty good. Keep an overlap on that. Let's see. That ought to work. Excuse me. Okay, what do we got here? We don't want that one because we already got that one. This is nice, but it's got a seam on it. Obviously ripped off of a garment I thrifted at some point. So let's take that one. And lay it out. All right, and let's pin it. It's a nice overlap also. And we'll have an overlap down here because, let's see, we got that one on there already. I don't think we have that one. How about this red one? I don't think it's long enough. Nope. And I don't want to piece it on the end down there. That's a pretty wide piece, isn't it? I wonder if we can make a little and a big out of that. Well, that one doesn't want to rip. Let's give it a little bit more start here, see if it'll work. Sometimes that helps, yeah. So that's nice, one of those little strips when you want to do the overlap. Oh, look. I think I'm going to leave that. It's kind of cute. All right. Let's pin this one. We'll go ahead and take the excess off here. Okay, I think I'm going to go ahead and trim some of this just so it's out of my way. We can trim it more. Again, more confetti. Okay, we need some more thread, and I'm out of that color thread. So let me scrounge around in my little thread thing here. And what do I have? I have some more of that, but I have some of this. It's just a piece. This is my scrappy box that I pull out of when I'm not specifically pulling colors for. I have a bunch of containers of threads that I'll pull out of when I need specific colors, but when I'm just, you know, doing something like this, I just like to have a handy little box of thread there that I can just pull colors out of at random. All right, let's take that. And then, like I said, we're going to split this into 2 strands. So this one splits pretty easy because it's not so wrapped up and kinked. So I can usually I have a ton of pieces hung over my light here from projects, but I have actually used them all up. Didn't have any, so I'm having to work out of my little box. All right. For any of you who have been with me for a while and know that I started in the beginning of this year to create a large stitching fabric book, and that I made pages from January through September, and then in October I said I was going to switch over and make the cover. Well, I didn't get the cover made in October, but I am going to be making that cover this month, and it'll be for this huge book here. All these fabric signatures that will be going inside of this book. And when I get all that done, I will be doing a flip through of this book for everybody, and to see what the final large book looks like. So I'm looking forward to finishing it. I love it all, and so that'll be something to look forward to. Okay, I'm going to stitch these, and I'm going to do that off camera and then come back and we'll make another set together, and we'll start building our strips, and I'll show you then how we're going to put them together also, okay? All right, till next time, stay scrap happy.